Hello, everyone. This is Dasha, and this is High and Smart Podcast, a podcast where we talk about creative leadership and all things related. And today, I want to talk about a very important topic, which is how to be your true self. And I believe that most of my peers are currently searching themselves. It's connected to our age, which is around like 30, mid 30, or even like less than 30. But it's just like the period when you are discovering who you are, what you like, etc. But it also is connected to the shifting world that is shifting so rapidly that we don't even understand where it's going. And me, as a person who had, well, quite a decade, I right now feel much more calmer than I used to feel, and I know myself much better than I used to know myself. And I believe that I have quite a few stories to share, and one of them is related to the topic, which is how to be a true self. So, most people imagine this like ideal version of themselves. So when they think about the true self, right? So you think about someone who is, I don't know, in my case, it always was this person that drives a fancy car, that always has a blowout, that always looks good, wearing designer clothes, that has her business, and just like, I don't know, she's creative, she's fit, she's skinny, she's sexy, and all of that, and she had lots of friends, etc. So I truly felt that this is who I am, right? So this is my true nature, the way that I act, the way that I react, and I always felt connected to, let me say, like this higher self, right? Also, although I don't think that my higher self rides Mercedes Benz, but still, like we had like this, all of us have this, like a true self is something or someone who is perfectly fits into our goals. And what I discovered, I think it was like the past year, but right now I fully understand it, is that true self is not only that. I mean, in some case it is, but the shortcut to be your true self is to embrace like how nasty you are, how bad of a person you are, how like what are your bad habits and how you enjoy doing that and how it is important for you to be an asshole or a bitch or I don't know, just like to be very like manipulative or else. And this does not sound very spiritual, but the fact is that this is the part of you that you're probably hiding, and you're hiding it due to the fact that you're scared of society and their opinion about you. You're scared that your parents will say that you're doing it not right, or your friends will tell you that they don't understand you. And basically, this fear or this desire to be accepted rules our desire to hide our true self because we are scared of it. And those who have changed their nature, and in that case, I mean like people who, well, basically changed their gender or just like had some other major changes in their life, they already like go are gone beyond that issue because for them they already accepted that they're not accepted. And most of the people are still on that level when they are trying to be liked, are trying to be accepted, are trying to be like I don't know, loved by society, parents and friends, rather than being their true self, which sadly but includes being a motherfucker, a bitch, an asshole, and else. It is very hard to understand that there's no light without shadow and shadow without light. And none of us is perfect, and none of us is an ideal person without like any flaws. But most of us try to project this image of like this very ideal, let me say, like true self, which is basically a lie. Your true self probably is an asshole. And that's kind of like honest opinion about yourself when you understand that, yes, I am the bitch that is over manipulative, over emotional. I don't know, like like happens to make something that is like makes people hurt. And it's not that you just like accept it, but you try to change it, because the key is lies here. First, you just let it be. So you embrace the fact that you have your flaws and you're not scared of them because they're like your babies. Like your like bad character is what makes you a good person actually, because that's how balance works. But it doesn't mean that you have to stay that way. But in order to change, you have to embrace it fully and be in that and basically swim in that and own it. And only then and after then, you can change it. So, in order to be your true self, the shortcut to that road is to embrace your bad sides. And you can like fix them or not fix them by now and just enjoy this process. But the fact is that if you're willing to be liked, if you're willing to be accepted by society, you're never gonna know who you are. And society influence us like mostly. Even I, like knowing all about how things work, I understand that even I haven't like a huge influence, um like I am hugely influenced by society. And it's not that I'm like super perfect, but I studied like all these types of propaganda in university, so I have to be aware of them, but I am not, right? So this is not something that I want to focus on today, but rather I want um to to just like point your attention to the fact that the more you care about what you feel and think, and the less you care about others' opinion, the like greater the possibility so that you will meet your people, so that you will meet someone who fully understands you, fully likes you, fully accepts you, and basically who's like on your level, right? So let me just like underline it. In order to be your true self, the shortcut is to embrace your negative sides, your bad sides. But I also have to make a disclaimer for those who don't feel very confident about that because they just like feel that like they're shit. You don't have to feel bad about being bad because all people are bad. Others are just like hiding it. And if you look into people who are in charge, the people who have lots of money, people who have lots of like power in general, all of these people have their negative sides. And they have lots of haters due to that. But that's their authentic self. And that's why they are who they are. Because at one moment they decided that they're not going to be liked by society. Think about like, I don't know, like Mark Zuckerberg or Kanye or Oprah, right? It's not about being liked. It's about embracing who you are, embracing your shadow, embracing your story, and not trying to just like, I don't know, hide it from anyone. You are the way you are. And yes, it's awfully, awfully hard to know that you're such a bad person because all of us want to be perfect. All of us want to be like angel, and we think that we're so nice, and that we think that we don't make any mistakes, and the other people around us, they just like don't value us. But the fact is, the more you are like you, the more bad you are to others. Because those people, and you probably know them, those people who are so perfect, they just like they act in a certain way, they do the certain things, they just like they're so liked by everybody, they end up really badly, I'd say. I saw these people change through years, and luckily I'm in the age when I can see people changing due to the fact of their hiding their authentic self. And it's ugly. It's ugly because it's like wearing a mask. So, I actually started to like bastards. I actually started to like bitches even more because I always did. But in many cases, I started to like all these crazy people who are in charge in power, people who have money, but they're wild and crazy and they're just like doing the weird stuff. Not because like I support it, but rather than I respect the fact that people are not hiding themselves. Because the world is not like a Photoshop and you are acting like you are not real. Most of us, and the Photoshop is like an issue, right? Everyone is telling like how many like celebrity how celebrities are using Facetune and how they're using Photoshop in order to look good. But we as society use like a mental Photoshop in order to look good in the other's eyes. And the true self, the real self, the authenticity comes from your willingness not to hide yourself, basically to show off your flaws. And it doesn't mean like again, it's similar with the I don't know skin, right? So if you have any like severe problems, you have to go to the doctor and fix them. That's it. That's how it works. But if this is like I don't know, like part of your identity, right? For example, in my case, just to make it clear, I mean, I am like very hard person and I don't want to change that actually because that's part of who I was as I was a child. I always was that hard and I don't want to change it. With some people I am less harder, with some people I am pretty hard, but I don't want to change it. And to me, this is like, I don't know, having a huge nose, right? I don't want to face tune it. I don't want to face tune my hardness and hide it because I know who I am and that's part of me. And even though sometimes I feel like I'm over exaggerating, I'm too heavy, etc., this is who I am, yes. And probably looking like like a photoshopped version of me, soft and nice, would be like cute, but what for? But for just to be liked? Well, the thing is that I don't want to be liked. I want to be respected. I want to like help people serve planet. I want to be valuable for generation. I want to be heard. I want to be seen. And in order to do that, I have to connect with those and work with those who already are authentic. Because when you look higher, when you look the people who are in charge, they are not scared of their flaws. They show off them proudly. Not speaking about celebrities who hide their skin, but I mean like people mostly are aware that they have to be authentic selves in order to get something. So hopefully this was something to consider. And yes, I'm speaking from my evilish side. And still, like sometimes you have to remind yourself that you are not a bad person, you just have your flaws. And this is totally normal because all of us do. But there are lots of people, the majority of people, who try to hide it. But there's always the moment in their life when they have to show it off. And after that moment, things are moving into a very different direction. So that was my podcast today. Hopefully, it brought a light, not a shadow, to your heart. But sometimes you just like have to talk about things like that. And yes, I am still embracing my bad sides. It's not going easy, but I love it. I love that I'm such an interesting person, a controversial person. It makes me interesting, it makes me unique, and I definitely don't want to be accepted for somebody like some image, some fake image that I am not. So that was my message. Yo.